Power Hour with John Lee.
Boom! Welcome to the Power Hour. I'm going to smash it because I always fucking smash it. And today's no exception on the Power Hour. What we're talking about? We're talking about murder in the family. So it's often, or maybe even always, seen as a gross faux pas to murder members of your own family. And I think that's more or less universal. And looking at some peeps who've done it, basically. Most of them are American, just because America generates most of everything. And apparently, family murder is no exception to that. So we'll begin with a very famous case from the 90s. Yeah, I'm having the 90s. It was Lyle and Eric Menendez, and they were, the Menendez brothers. And what happened with those guys was absolutely terrifying and horrific, actually, what they did. And they were two really good-looking, privileged young men. They had it all. Every possible advantage that a person could have was had by these two boys. Eric was the oldest and Kyle was the youngest. Lyle, was the youngest. And, no, it's wrong. Lyle was the oldest and Eric was the youngest, that's right. And although there wasn't much difference between them in age. And the parents were Jose and Kitty Menendez. So Jose was first generation immigrant, Cuban, and he was a hard worker. And his wife was a beauty queen. And they were, sweethearts, high school sweethearts and all that. And they lived the dream, really. And Jose Menendez became extremely powerful, executive, multimillionaire, made a lot of money. Kitty Menendez was a picture of domestic prettiness and bliss. And they had two sons, as I say, Lyle and Eric, who were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, as we say. But as very often happens, it was all a bit of a facade. Because, the money was real, the success was real, but the happiness was not. You see, Jose was a bad bastard, by all accounts, who was a power-hungry maniac. And he used to, the least of it is that he used to abuse his subordinates, which is bad. If you work for a bastard who picks on you all the time and wants to show you up, wants to embarrass you, belittle you, put you down in front of everybody else, and you find yourself, maybe you could be a kind of person who's just thinking, please don't stand next to the window. Do you know what I mean? I will just fucking chuck you through it, and I'm trying not to do that. Or you might just be a person who just doesn't want to be there because of this bastard every day waiting for you to walk through the door so he can laugh in your face and that. And he was that kind of guy, He was a bully. And he used to bully his wife. Apparently he used to beat his wife. Now, nobody fucking likes that. Nobody likes a wife beater. But that's not really the point. This poor woman had to put up with that and then go out, probably tennis clubs and charity events, social events, things like that, and feel the pressure to present this image of the family and of herself and of her husband and of the kids, They can't say, well, no, my kids actually grow up in a really hostile environment. No parent wants to say that, maybe especially even a mother who's actually being beaten by her husband. And so this was the situation, and the kids were growing up in this. And eventually they go to Princeton University, Ivy League uni. But they're not academically minded. It's not that they're stupid. I think they're just spoilt. And I think that can be a problem. Right, yeah, you can have this. You have tennis courts, big house, lush, servants, cleaners, get what you want when you want it. Now you've got to work for something. And now you're surrounded by kids that are as rich or richer than you. They don't give two fucks about your tennis court. They've got 3 tennis courts and a swimming pool. Swimming pool that fucking, you can raise it and lower it depending on whether or not you feel like raising and lowering the fucking swimming pool. They don't give two fucks about you and your tennis rackets, And so you kind of swimming in different waters, and maybe they didn't feel special there. Maybe they weren't as academically gifted as the other peeps, but they got yanked, both of them. And they were both intelligent people, so I'm thinking it was some other problem, not their intellect. Anyway, it seems like this was a simmering environment, and the two brothers were talking a lot about this situation, and talking a lot about their father's nature, the father's character, and the mother's shortcomings, perhaps, that she wasn't strong enough to stand up to him, and not strong enough to stand up for them. And so this was a kind of environment that created the circumstance in which these two young men walked into the front room, as we say, in small houses we call it a front room. I grew up saying that. Front room is a living room. So they walked into the living room, and the parents are sitting there reading books, listening to some music, big open fireplace, beautiful, lots of oak, lots of ornate furniture and lamps. And so they pull out the shotguns, blast, and kill the fucking dad, blow him to bits, bang, bang, bang. Brutality, nasty, blood splash, fuck off violence, fucking bang. The mother is going berserk, man. She's fucking, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my God. Bang, bang. They fucking shoot the mother down. She's on the fucking floor, right? Bang. She's trying to get behind the couch. This is mayhem. This is psychosis. This is nasty beyond your fucking wildest dreams, man. She's trying to get away from her two beautiful sons that she's raised all these years. And her husband's just been shotgun blasted on the couch by her sons. She's in trauma. She's terrorised. She's traumatised to the max already, and it's not even started. Right? Because they're clicking at her like that, and she's trying to get away. Why? What the fuck are you doing? Please don't stop. They've run out of bullets, man. They've just fucking discharged everything in the front room, in the living room, whatever. Blasted the place, yeah? She's not dead. She's got time to look around and see her sons with the shotguns, her two sons, look over and see her husband, whatever he was, fucking dead, blasted to smithereens on the couch. These lads, they go back out to the car, they get more ammo, they reload, they lock and load, they walk back into the house, they go back into the living room. Mother's on the fucking floor. She's trying to get to the phone. She's trying to get to the window. She's just trying not to be there in any fucking way that a human could do that, but she can't because she's been shotgun blasted by her own kids. So what do? Bang! Fuck off. Bang! They do it again. They blast her again to death this time. Both of them. Bang! Taking turns as they shotgun blast the mother to death. The father's already dead. Now, what do they do next? They take the guns, they leave, they're gone for an hour and a half, doing whatever the fuck they're doing for an hour and a half. Right, feel. And then they come back to the house. And they go inside, and I don't know what they said to each other, but they discovered the scene. They walk in, they discover the scene of their own parents. And so they phone 911. I mean, weeping. You've got to come now. Somebody's come in the house. Somebody's shot our parents. No, I tell a lie. They didn't mention the mum. Somebody's shot my dad. He's dead. Somebody's come in and shot him. Weeping, hysterically, uncontrollably on the phone. So, the police turn up, obviously, and this is high profile. This is where Columbo solves his cases. You know what I mean? These are big houses, rich people. Police are there immediately. What the fuck is going on here? So they're arriving looking for a certain kind of crime, I think. Rich man, dead. What's missing? What's been stolen? Has he disturbed a burglar or whatever? But in that case, if you're disturbing a burglar, he's probably got a handgun. At the most, the guy's going to bring a gun to a burglary, maybe to scare you off. put one in your foot. But, this Jose Menendez was a big guy. They're thinking maybe like he's tangled with a burglar or two and they fucking shot him. It's the only way of getting out of the house. Maybe. But when they walk in, I mean, first of all, when they arrive, the younger one, Eric, he's outside, and he's just apoplectic. He's uncontrollable. He's having convulsions and he can't breathe, and he's weeping and he's screaming and he's crying. And I mean, it's apparently just a terrible scene to see this guy. The older one, Eric, much less so, conspicuously less so, and that was noted. So this is what they find when they arrive. They find the younger one in bits, and the other one much more controlled. All right, so they're processing that. They walk in, and when they get to the living room and they walk around the corner, they get to the living room, it looks like 15 fucking grenades went off in there. This is just murder mayhem. I mean, this is horrendous. It goes beyond assassination. They're trying to blast them out of existence, trying to blast them off the face of the fucking earth. Horrendously. But of course they don't know what's happened. All they know is somebody's gone in there and done violence. Done really, really, really bad violence in there. And so the investigation starts, of course, and, they go through the motions. Well, as I say, rich people, burglary, straight away. What's missing? Not a lot, or, it's not a burglary, is it? This is not a burglary. So, who's going to kill him, He's a rich man, absolute arsehole, non-stop. He must have enemies. What enemies he's got? The mafia. Maybe it's the mafia. He had some fucking around with the mafia. Maybe they've done it. Maybe. But why do his wife like that? He's the target. They quickly ascertain this guy's been shotgun blasted. He's been one-timed. It's the wife. I mean, they don't have to do this. They come in, ballis, bang, see you later. You don't even have to shoot her. They've clearly chased her around the room. Her blood's all over the fucking place. She's been chased around that room and blasted, and they're thinking, what the fuck is going on here? And everybody's really feeling for these kids, these young lads who've lost their parents like this, And what's normal behaviour? What are you going to be on the lookout for? Well, normally when somebody's parents get shotgun blasted, I watch out for this and that. No, because it doesn't happen, does it? Do you know what I mean? So nobody really knew what to look out for. I think there were eyebrows giving it, some raising here and there, but nobody really knew what to look out for until the money started getting spent. These boys started spending money. And that is not what you do. I mean, they bought a fucking Rolex a piece. They bought a Rolex watch each. Now, is that normal behaviour? Would you run out and start spending? I mean, you might do. You might think, fuck it. I might blow my own head off next week after this. So I'm just, what's money? I'm going to spend it here and there. And I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. You know what I mean? I'll throw the fucking Rolex in the river. I really don't care about anything now. So that might happen, but they seem to be keeping things and planning what they were going to buy, and they seem to be enjoying the process. Not just fucking put it on my card, I don't give a fuck kind of attitude. It was right, we've got the money, let's rock and roll kind of styles. And so the younger one, he's struggling with this. Eric, he seems to be having a problem with it. The older one doesn't. The other one's, cosy, calm about it. And just because I think it's cultural to have a therapist in America, it's very common, and maybe that's a good thing. Eric goes there and he starts to open up a little bit. And, this guy's a therapist. He's thinking, are you involved in this? You seem to know things. And he becomes suspicious of the situation, and so he starts to coax him out of his shell. And he starts confiding in him, yeah, basically, it was me. Me and my brother did it, you know what I mean? And it would have been the perfect crime if it wasn't for this and that. So, you know, the shrink starts recording his conversations. And I think he gets Lyle involved as well. Hey, you know, let's talk about this, you know. And gets Lyle involved as well. And the two brothers start admitting everything. And they're braggadocious about it. Oh, yeah, it was perfect. It was great. It was brilliant. And now we've got the cash. Now we've got the Rolex. You know what I mean? And this, you know, the psychologist, the therapist thinking, you fuckers. You did that to your parents. You know what I mean? And now you're sitting here in front of me talking about how great you are. He's gone to the popo. He's gone to the police straight away. Listen to that. So they know now what's happened, obviously. These fucking lads have murdered the parents for money. Cold-blooded, man. Went back outside to get tooled up to get fucking reloaded and go back in and carry on with the massacre. Of course, they're lying about it, and it turns into this big show trial anyway. They get arrested, they get charged with murder, and they're up in court, and they've had time to think about it, and they come out and they pull out the sexual abuse thing. I don't know. Their story is that they got sexually abused by both parents, but particularly by the father. And it was brutal and it was horrible, and they were angry with the mother for not protecting them. And that's why they did it. And it didn't wash. People didn't believe them. They were very convincing, though. You know, crying there in court and all that. Little rich kids like that, they know how to get what they want, though, don't they? And they don't mind crying for it either. So, plus turned out the youngest one was rocking a wig all the while. Anyway, they got found guilty and they got sent down, and they went down for life. So these little bastards, what did they do? Right? They didn't get a fucking job. They said, look, fuck you dudes, you know what I mean? I'm an adult now. I don't like your style. Fuck your money. I'm going to go and get a job. No, they didn't. They went and used the money that they were getting from the parents anyway to go and buy shotguns and fucking cartridges and all the rest of it, and go home and premeditated fashion shotgun blast the parents to death, then put on a big theatre show about it, and then fucking start saying that the parents have both sexually abused them. So spend the rest of your life in jail, you little bastards. Anyway, who are we going to rock next on the list? John List. John fucking List. So John List was your typical, you know, posh-looking kind of accountant-type dude. You know, glasses, suit, tie, brown suit, brown briefcase kind of dude. And he had a really nice house and a beautiful family, even though he was drab, to say the least. And a lot of people in society, a lot of people that he worked with, a lot of people in the town, basically people who knew him and semi-knew him, you know, had a very high opinion of him, even envious of him. Picture book lifestyle again. Very conformative, you know what I mean? Conforming strongly to the stereotypes and parameters of that which we associate with success. But behind that veil, that carefully orchestrated veil of correctness and of prosperity, was a strange calculating mind. You see, John List was actually unemployed. All right, you're unemployed, no problem. I don't care about that. I mean, everybody could be in that situation, couldn't they? You could lose your job. We're seeing that worldwide now. How many people have lost their jobs in this coronavirus shit? So I'm not judging him for that. I'm just saying that he was unemployed and pretending not to be. And it reminds me of a great film called Falling Down with Michael Douglas, which may have been based on this. I mean, this part of the film, no spoilers. But yeah, Michael Douglas is great in that film, and he's kind of similar in that way. He is a family man. He has been fired. He is pretending to go to work when he's not, rocking a suit and tie and all that. And that's what John List was doing. He's going out in the morning, rocking his suit, rocking his tie, rocking his briefcase. And you know, sometimes when you see somebody like that and you think, briefcase, in this day and age, what you're rocking in there, you got sex toys in there, haven't you? In the next 20 minutes, you'll be on your hands and knees, you barking like a fucking dog. So that's probably the case with most of these people. But this was a long time ago. So he had an excuse for rocking his briefcase. And I think people didn't suspect the whole sex toy motif at the time. And he was lying to his family as well. And they all thought that Daddy was going to work and having a great time doing it and earning lots of money. Because they lived in like a 16-bedroom house. Which is, that's a palace, really, a 16-bedroom house. Unless it's a 16-bedroom shithole. Which it actually wasn't. It was a nice house. I mean, it was all the trimmings. And then one day, he starts writing letters to the pastor, the priest or whatever. And the hair on my glasses pissing me off. So he starts writing letters. He sits down, starts writing letters to the pastor. He's saying, this whole, family life thing that I'm doing is not really working out too well for me. I'm not really feeling it. I don't think my kids are feeling it. I don't think my mum's feeling it because he lived with his mother as well. And I don't think my wife's feeling it. And just from a practical perspective, I don't really feel like I should continue in this vein. So I'm going to take some steps to sort it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill everyone. And that's what he did. So she's sitting at the kitchen table with a paper and with the breakfast there, orange juice, coffee, cakes and that, whatever she has for her breakfast. And he walks in behind her with a gun. Bang! Shoots her in the fucking head. Splat blood all over the kitchen table. And he deals with that situation by going upstairs, straight up the stairs with his gun to his mother's bedroom. Because you see, this is awkward now. And he walks into his mother's bedroom and he says, "Good morning." Yeah. Bang! Executes her, point blank range. Because she can't really be finding that in the kitchen. I mean, that would be unfair. It'd be uncouth, actually, to allow your mother to see your dead wife in the kitchen where you've just blown her fucking brains out. I mean, that's just not the done thing, is it? So I'll have to blow her fucking brains out in bed. That's, obviously the only way to solve this situation. And then he goes back down the stairs and he's cancelling newspapers and he's feeding the fish and he's washing the dishes and he's having his own breakfast and all that. And then he waits. He spends the day in the house because he's waiting for his kids to come home, which they do at the end of the day. He's got their 2 sons and a daughter. They come home from school as they normally would. But of course, they can't be confronted with the sight of the mother who's been executed by the father, or their grandmother who's been executed by her son, their father, in the house. Because that would be too traumatic for the kids. They would be very disappointed to find out that the father is actually a murderous bastard who hasn't got a job. And therefore, the best thing to do is to let them walk into the kitchen and creep up behind them. Bang! Now, he's got a revolver. You know what I mean? It's not a machine gun. So it's bang. Bang. And I know it's graphic. Bang. But that's how you'd have to do it. You know what I mean? You'd have to shoot them in the head one at a time. I mean, the horror of that. You're coming in, you've got your brother and your sister with you. Bang! Fucking blood. What? Your dad's behind you with a gun. What the fuck? Bang! And then the next one. Bang! He's took them all out. Then he's turned the heating down so that the bodies didn't start stinking too fucking quick and alert the neighbours and anybody else. He's left the house, he's locked it up, left the bodies of his wife, his mother and his 3 kids inside the house, shot to death, execution style, right? And then he's disappeared. He's gone. He's off the map. No one knows where he is. 18 years later, for whatever reason, he's on America's Most Wanted, the television program. Somebody recognises him because he's still alive. Not only is he still alive, the little bastard has recreated his life. He's married. He's a fucking unemployed accountant, and he's up to his tits in debt. I mean, he's literally recreated his life again without the kids and the mother in the fucking attic. But again, nobody suspected him at all. And they went and they arrested him, they brought him in, and he just explained that he'd done all that because it was the right thing to do. It was logical. What else am I going to do? Not execute my entire family and tell them that I haven't really got a job and I'm a lying bastard. I mean, can you imagine the psychological effect on everybody if they found out I'm a liar? No, I can't do that. That's why I executed them all in a routine manner and disappeared. Fucking lunatic. But I don't think he's a lunatic. I've seen him in interviews. He's just calm. Just thinks that's the right thing to do. And I think some people have an ability and a propensity to do things that most of us just don't understand on a fundamental level. We just don't know what a psychopath is or how they operate. We're looking for some kinds of humanity in them that are not there. And, well, they must be crazy or they must be, evil. Maybe they're just not like most people. Maybe some people are just different and capable of things that we're not capable of doing or whatever. Because Susan Smith was from South Carolina in America, and she was a working class girl, really, and she grew up with unfortunate circumstances. Her father committed suicide when she was growing up, and she gets a stepfather. So her mother gets a new husband, sets up with somebody else, right? But he's a sexual fucking abuser. This guy's a pedo. He's a dirty pedo. And so he starts sexually abusing this young girl who's the daughter of his girlfriend or of his wife. You know what I mean? Filth. And she can't stand the abuse, man. She can't handle it. I don't know where the mother is in all this, so I can't say whether she was culpable in any way. But the fact is that she got a new husband who started abusing her daughter, and this did continue for a period of time to the point where she tried to commit suicide twice. Susan Smith, when she was a kid, teenager growing up, tried to commit suicide twice. I don't know. I mean, immediately, I think, right, you've got this new boyfriend or husband. I don't know if they got married. That's pretty clear by now. And now your teenage daughter is trying to commit suicide. Well, okay, maybe. And then it happens again. I don't know. It seems suspicious to me that you might think, is there something happening here in this house? And if so, what? But no, that didn't happen. Apparently, he got away with it for a very long time. And I think this created a certain mindset in Susan Smith. Maybe she was just desperate for a good man. A man that would love her and take care of her and respect her and just treat her well. And she found one. And she fell in love with him. And one of the ingredients that made him special was his money. He was successful, which is often used, obviously, as a euphemism for rich. And this boy had cash money. And she wanted it, security, financial security, the kind of lifestyle I could get used to. Rah, cash. You know what I mean? Just fucking say it. So she wanted the cash. She wanted the money. This guy had it. And he probably had other qualities that she was into. But then she gets a letter. And the letter says, blah, 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 blah. There are things about you that I don't like. Yes, I'm talking about your kids. I mean, come on. That's fucking rude. And we've all been in those situations where you meet a girl, a woman, you go round to her house and she's got 7 kids and they're all fucking mental and one of them tries to bite your face, you know, and she's going, oh, God, you know, you got to love them, aren't they gorgeous? They're so wild. They're just like the dad. Well, the dads, but they're all in prison, you know, and it's, fuck this, getting out of here. But this doesn't seem to have been the case. They seem to have been 2 fairly nice, normal kids. But he just wasn't up for it. He just didn't want that. Now, he should have said that day one. Unless she lied about having kids. I've got 2 kids. Right, listen, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to bring another man's children home. Don't need it. Every time I've seen that on television or anywhere else, it's been a fucking nightmare. So I'm not into it. Bye-bye. You know what I mean? Because I'm not asking you to leave your kids, so I'm going to leave the scene. Call me what you want as I walk away. But he doesn't do that. He sends her a letter seemingly proposing that, you know, your kids are the problem here. Maybe it was an excuse. I don't know. But she decided that the kids really needed to go. And so they did. The kids disappeared. And she goes to the police and she tells his story about this black man, of course, because fucking racist, goes saying, oh, this black man has abducted me kids and I don't know where my kids are. And they say, oh, for fuck's sake, that's terrible, man. I have to sort this out straight away. So they get the press down there and the camera's out and they're doing this press conference and whatnot. Come on, Susan, tell everyone what's happened. So she starts bleating this bullshit story and everyone's like, you what? So where's the ransom? I mean, black guy came, took your car, you know, or he burgled your house, or he had your jewellery off you, he took your money off you. No, he just took the kids and fucked off. Well, I mean, that's an unusual crime, to say the least. I mean, he might just murder people on the scene if that's where he is. Take them away to you know, for later crimeage. Very unusual, kind of what? Not impossible, but not seeing the crime angle here. Anyway, they started polygraphing her because they're thinking, nah, you know, this don't add up at all. And they kept asking the question, do you know where your children are? No. And so the question came back over and over again, and every time she reacted the same. And so they've started putting more pressure on her, find out what's actually gone on. Where are the kids? Do you know what I mean? Are they alive? Are they dead? Are you hiding the kids? What's going on? What she'd actually done, right? She'd got the kids, she'd got them in the car, and she's drugged them. I think she drugged them. The kids are asleep, okay? They're in the back of the car. She drives down to the river. Okay, you see where I'm going with this, where she was going with this. She strapped the kids into the car, right? She's taken the fucking handbrake off. She's gone round to the back of the car and she's pushed. And she's a small, slight girl, yeah? She's pushed the car down this gradient. It's not a fucking hill, you just push it and fuck off. She's had to push it. I've seen it, right? She had to push it down this hill like that and push the car with the kids in it into the river. And the car, right, according to the estimations I saw, took about half an hour, 40 minutes. It took a long time for this fucking car to go down. So her kids wake up and they, what the fuck, right, there's fucking water in the car. Where's mummy? They turn round. She's fucking standing there, looking at them, watching them. They're banging their hands, the fists on the glass. Right, mummy, help us, get us out. And she's just standing there waiting for the car to sink. Right, the horror inside that car, the inability to understand what's going on, and the water level rising all the while. And that fucking bitch is standing there just watching them, waiting. Come on, for fuck's sake, sink. And then, of course, they sank. And they went into the river, engulfed by the water, invisible to anybody going past or in the next day or whatever. So this fucking bitch, because she wanted to be with this man who had some cash, and she had a boyfriend. She wanted to leave the boyfriend, couldn't really leave the kids, didn't want to run off. I don't know what the fuck process was, but she decided that what she needed to do was to kill her kids so that she could be with this man who had money. So basically she killed her kids for money. Don't give a fuck what you say. She killed her kids for money. And then lied about it. And then did a press conference lying about it. Lied about it 4 times on polygraph tests until she was cornered and then she admitted it. Fucking scum. Susan Smith, prison for the rest of her life, along with John List and Lyle and Eric. Let's go to Big Ed. Edmund Kemper. Fuck me. Edmund Kemper, right? This guy is a classic serial killer profile. What happens with the guy? He grows up with his parents, he's not an orphan or anything like that. He lives with his parents, but his mother is a domineering fucking hag. She's up his ass about everything. He's got a couple of sisters, and she just bullies him, man. She's just fucking on his case all the time, and she locks him in the basement, and it was a basic existence. And the excuse for locking him in the basement was that she felt that he might rape his sisters. I mean, I don't know whether he would or not, but I mean, it's a strong accusation, and locking him in the basement, is that... You think he might have some kind of deviant proclivities, tendencies, something like that, so you fucking lock him in the basement. As a child, I'm on about. And, 6, 7, 8 years old. Terrible. And he was abusing cats. Burying them, digging them up again, killing them again, And his behaviour seems to have been strange. And I would suggest that maybe the cruel and vindictive mother locking him in a basement so he doesn't rape his sisters might have contributed to his overall mental state. But anyway, this is not being tolerated. So when he's about 9 years old, he gets sent to live with his grandparents, okay? And they are his maternal grandparents. So this is his mother's parents, the parents of his fucking horrible mother. And he goes out there and he's living with the grandparents. And at first he gets there and he thinks, this is miles better. I'm away from that fucking bitch. And, I can be myself and do whatever I want to the local cats. Not a problem. And he quickly realises that his mother's mother is the mother of his mother, and she's up his ass 24/7. Fucking worse than the one he's got indoors. So he thinks, fucking hell, this is bad to worse. This is nasty. He's only a kid, as I say, he's a child. So he thinks, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get the gun. That's what I'll do. So he goes and he gets the shotgun, and he walks into the kitchen. His grandmother's standing there, and he says, "Granny, put the milk down," because he wants a coffee after this. "Granny, put the milk over there, yeah, right." Bang! Fuck off! Shotgun blasts his granny in the kitchen. Bang! Shotgun blasts her again. He's a child, right? And he thinks, fucking hell, me grandfather's coming home now. He's coming back from the market. He's going to find her like this. He's going to be devastated. He walks in and sees his wife like this. Can't have that. Here's what I'll do. I'll wait for him to get back and I'll shotgun blast him. So he sits outside the house with the gun. The old fella, he's coming back from the market, carrying the bags, maybe a basket. And he comes up the drive and he sees the young kid sitting there with a shotgun, which might not have been abnormal in that area. Maybe I think it's a rural area. Maybe it was not unusual to see people with guns. Maybe kids got a shotgun. And he said, what, Edmund, what are you doing with the gun? This is his grandson. He says, look, you don't want to go in there because I've executed your wife in the kitchen. What? Sorry. Bang! fucking blasts him on the driveway, kills him. Stone blood kills him. Stone blood, that's not a thing, is it? Cold blood, stone cold. Stone blood kills him. We'll have it. Sits back down, he phones the police, sits back down and waits for the police. Saying, look, you know, she was a fucking bitch. I had to kill that one. And he was going to find her dead, so, you know what I mean? What would you have done? Again, you know, there's just a difference about some people. And so he gets institutionalised. They put him in a basically a mental hospital. Not really too many ways of describing it. And it becomes apparent that he's very intelligent, Edmund. Highly intelligent, in fact. And one thing this boy can do is grow. And grow and fucking grow. And he's enormous, really. He's a huge, huge guy. And his IQ and his height seem to just advance exponentially. And he kind of ingratiates himself with the academics of the institution, the doctors and the clinical psychologists and all that, and he learns from them. He studies them. He studies their reactions to the things he says and doesn't say. He gets to know their techniques and strategies better than they do, and so they trust him so much through this manipulation that he gets his hands on the tests. You know, they're letting him do filing kind of duties, administration type stuff. And so he's having a peekaroo. You know, all right, nice one. I know what you mean there. Deny it, then admit it. I see what you mean. And he's memorised it all. And so they've given him the test. He gets to 20. I think he's in there until he's 20 years old. And he's memorised all the tests. So they give him whatever test they want and he knows the crack. Been in there for years, man. And so they let him out. And when they let him out, he's 6'9". That's over 2 metre tall if you go in metric. He's 6'9". He's 280 pounds to 300 pounds, which is enormous. The man's a giant. And he comes out and he's got this history. But he did it when he was a child, you know. And it's sealed, so nobody knows what he did when he was a kid or why he did it. He was abused. He's mentally tortured. And so, well, okay, he's highly intelligent. He's very amiable, warm, friendly guy. He's just gigantically massive. But even then he's not threatening because he's so nice and kind of affable. You know, almost dopey, but at the same time very, very intelligent. And so he's working on a street crew, you know, well, a road crew, I should say. You know, laying tarmac, doing road work, proper physical work. And the other guys are all strong men, you know. They can't believe how strong he is. He's just unbelievably strong. One of them where you hope he does not go crazy after a few drinks because he'll destroy the bar. Fucking destroy the bar. You know, one of them just, you know, naked, fucking crying, pissing himself all over the place and just smashing everything like a child having a tantrum. We've all seen people do that. He was one of them characters, but he was also very good at maintaining relationships, I think, with authority figures. I think he'd learnt that. And the reason I say that is because he befriended the police. He was going in the police bar. It's called a jury room, maybe. He was going in the police bar and he's hanging out with the cops and he's Big Ed. And he's talking to them and they're talking to him and he's on the pool team and all the rest of it. And he's well known and well liked in those circles. And then they get some kind of report about an unlicensed firearm. And when they trace the purchase of the gun, it says on the purchasing form that he's 6'9" and nearly 300 pounds. Massive man. And so the cop who has to go there, he thinks, fucking hell, who's going to take the gun off this guy if he goes crazy? So he drives out there on his own, which is brave. And the 6'9" man lived at number 609. He arrives there, Edmund Kemper starts getting out of his car, and he's still getting out of his car a couple of minutes later because he's absolutely massive. And the cop goes up to him like that, fuck me. I've heard you've got a gun you shouldn't have and all that. Do you want to give it back or not? And he says, yeah, of course, I'll give you the gun. Gives him the gun. Copper says, right, later. Back in the car and he's down the road. I got the gun. Nice one. Job done. But apparently this spooked Edmund Kemper because dispatch got a call. And he says, Edmund Kemper. Well, it's Edmund Kemper, that's why I said it. He said, it's Edmund Kemper. I need some cops round at my house. Why? What's happened? Well, I've done some crimes. What have you done? Well, I've killed my mother. Really? Yeah, she's dead. She's in the house. I've just killed her. I've just executed her. Fucking out, right. Well, where are you? He says, find that cop who brought my gun back to my house. He knows where I live. So the cop, they contact him and he starts driving out there. He's still on the phone. He says, and I also executed her best friend. What, your mum's best friend? Yeah. And also, I'm the co-ed killer. Or the co-ed butcher, you call me in the newspapers. And I'm responsible for 6 homicides. Right, this is Big Ed from the bar. Yeah, Big Ed from the fucking bar. I'm on the pool team. Yeah, me. I've executed my fucking mother, her best friend, and 6 female students from the local university. I mean, you can imagine, this is... What? Because they all knew each other in this area. And so, they go around, and they find he hasn't just executed her. What he's done is... He's freaked out, you see. When the cops brought his gun round, he thought it was some kind of psychological test. Oh, they're on to me, they know what I've done, Styles. So, he gets a hammer, and his mother's in bed. And he goes in there, and remember the size of him? And it's just a brutal fucking frenzy with his hammer. He sets about his mother, he's screaming at her, he's shouting at her. We know all this because he fucking would not shut up after they arrested him. Fucking rah, you, to me, shouting, rah, said to me. Only killed a few cats, you crazy bitch, fuck off. And he's done things to her I won't tell you about, but really bad sexual stuff to the corpse. We're talking decapitation and way beyond. Really fucking sick. I mean, you can find it on the internet, you want to know, but you're talking the sickest, most vile things that the human mind could ever possibly conceive of, much less put into practice with your mother, who you've just brutally murdered with a hammer. You're talking blood everywhere, man. He's doing minging, horrible, nasty things to the body. Taking his time about it, eh? You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. He's put her head on the fucking mantelpiece and he's carried on giving her a fucking lecture. Lecturing the fucking head, his mother's head. Blood everywhere, body parts everywhere. Chop her up. And lecturing the fucking head. That's got to be up there with the craziest people ever. The most brutal, violent shit you've ever seen or heard. So he thinks, right, obviously, I'll have to call her best friend because she might come round to water the plants or whatever, and I can't have her walking into this mayhem massacre that I've just done to my mother. So she comes round, and he as soon as she walks through the door, fuck off, smashes her with the hammer, and gives her what was a toned down version of that, but she got brutally murdered by a giant with a fucking hammer. For no other reason than she was best friends with a woman who didn't really have the best relationship with her son. That's it, really. And so when they got him talking, he was it came out that he was a brutal serial killer who, as I say, murdered 6 beautiful young girls, and they were all slim, small, defenseless, really, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, university age, And you look at them and they're so delicate, the bone structure, so delicate, all they want to do is read books, smile, go to parties. And this fucker, because he can't get a girlfriend because he's so fucking big, he's getting him in his car, and he's got a trick with this like chapstick where he'll reach across the car to do the window up or whatever and drop it down the mechanism so that they can't lock the door. They can't unlock the door. You have to know the trick. And he's planning this in advance. He took 2 girls out. He put one in the trunk and brutally murdered the other in the car. So she's on the other side of a seat that wide, while her best friend is here getting brutally murdered by this fucked up giant in the back of the car. And she's in the boot and in the trunk in America, and she can't get out because he's locked it. And he comes round, unlocks it, pulls her out, and brutally murders her as well. And he's chopping them up, and he's chucking the body parts all over the fucking valley. And he did this to 6 young girls. So not only did he brutally murder and decapitate and dismember 6 young girls and scatter the body parts, not to mention sexual activity with the dead, he also fucking shotgun blasted his grandparents when he was a child, and then just brutally smashed his mother and her best friend into bloody oblivion. So Edmund Kemper, I mean, that's got to be one of the craziest, most violent people of the 20th century, at least in his personal life. Mick Philpott. Over to England for this guy. Now, he's not comparable with Edmund Kemper in terms of violence, but who is, short list really. And it's certainly who did it to their own family members as well. So Mick Philpott, who's that? Fucking no mark, absolute no mark. What we used to call a scally back in the day, scallywag. It's called now chav in England. We use the word chav. It's council housed and vulgar is what it used to mean. Basically, socially deprived with no education and no desire to fucking get one either. And that's what he was, Mick Philpott. And he grows up thinking that he's a ladies' man and whatnot. And when he's about 19, he's got a girlfriend. And the girlfriend leaves him. Painful, man. We all know that. That's pain. But he doesn't go and get drunk and tell his mates about it repeatedly. The typical fucking, no, you fucking don't understand. I know I don't understand, but repeating it won't help that. Anyway, he decides to go round to the house, and he's kicked the fucking door in and set about his girlfriend, and he's stabbed her. He's trying to kill her. He's fucking got his knife and he's stabbing this young girl in the kitchen. And her mother walks through the door to find this crazy bastard stabbing up her daughter. This is probably the boyfriend she did not want a daughter to have. And she was right about him, but big time, because he's stabbing her daughter up in the kitchen. She tries to get involved. He turns on her as well. Fucking starts stabbing her up. He gets arrested. They both survived, unbelievably, against the odds. Little bastard only did 7 years. 7 years? What, you for 2 attempted murder charges. So you're recognising that he was trying to kill them, and you give him, what, 3.5 years? That's what their lives were worth. I mean, they survived okay, but how? And to live like what after that? 7 years, that's a fucking piss take. And he went on to be a bad man. He married a girl called Mairead. And one of the bridesmaids there, whose name is sometimes released and sometimes protected for legal reasons, so I won't mention it. She was, at the wedding, she was a bridesmaid. And she then became Mick Philpott's lover. And they were living together, all of them, okay, in the early stages. And they were doggers, right? Now, if there's anybody watching from the dogging community and you feel marginalised in society, you think that the LGBTQ movement doesn't represent you, and that Twitter people don't get outraged, when somebody slags off a dogger, as they should, you won't get that kind of discrimination on the Power Hour. I'm doggalicious, right? I stole my first car when I was 15 specifically to gate crash a dogging party. And years later, I became the champion dogger of Manchester 3 years running. People still call me top dog, right? So I am not here to judge anyone for dogging. These guys took the piss. They went way too far, above and beyond the doggers code. And they had a shitload of kids while they were at it, because Mick Philpott, had 6 kids with Mairead and 5 kids with the other. And they're all living in this council house, which means they don't pay for it, because he didn't work. The other 2 had part-time jobs. Mick Philpott didn't work, right? Wouldn't work. Typical can't work, won't work, lazy fucking knob. And he's getting money off the government galore to pay for all these kids, right? Kids seem happy and well adjusted, but that's because they've got these 2 women in the house doing everything they can apart from working and looking after this gobshite. They're fucking, looking after all these kids, keeping them clean, keeping them fresh, beautiful kids. Popular, well-adjusted, polite young people with a tremendous future, despite this fucking scumbag. And so he becomes famous because of a documentary about people like that, people who won't work, people who milk the system. And a woman called Anne Widdecombe, who's, a tiresome little twat in her own right, but she went round to his house basically with a camera crew. It was all arranged, and they're making a documentary, and she's challenging him on his behaviours and his attitudes, because he's not working and he won't work, and he's got all these kids, and he's kicking off bigly about wanting a bigger council house, and he's not getting anywhere with that. And so he's got this tremendous sense of injustice, entitlement. He's an injustice collector. And that's, the basis for the programme. And during the programme, she's challenging him on things like this, and he's so misogynistic, you can't just call her a dickhead. No, it has to be a woman-based insult. The reason you don't like me is because you're a woman. It's not because we've got a personality clash or we disagree on things, or because I'm a dickhead. Heaven forbid that. No, it's because you're a woman, and women are, and women do. Sexism, pure and simple. And they're in the pub actually at one point, and she calls him a coward. It is provocative language. And his response is priceless. He says, "I'm not a fucking coward. I'll show you who's a coward. Get outside." So what? So you're demonstrating that you're not a coward by demanding this woman, who must be 60 years of age anyway, get outside on the car park while you knock shit out of her. That's how you can demonstrate that you're not a coward, by doing that. So from that, he gets onto the Jeremy Kyle show, which is the lowest of the low, the fucking, scraping the barrel, absolutely awful. It's like the British Jeremy Springer show from back in the day. And you get the fucking numpty squad on there, can't find your ass with both hands, absolute dipshit, fucking going on the Jeremy Kyle show, to shout about who shagged whose brother and who took photos of it and put it up outside the fucking supermarket. It's all that, you know what I mean? Typically wearing, like, girls with, like, the side pony and the fucking leopard skin tights or whatever the fuck, leggings, all that kind of crew. Anyway, he's on there and he's doing the fucking, I'm not getting a job and I've got this, I've got my wives, got 2 wives, he's a polygamist, they're calling it, and they bring both of them out and he's doing the full show. And this is what he was doing, and he also said it on the documentary that he was sleeping one night in a caravan next to the house and the other one the next night, and they took turns to share him, And of course, everybody's going to both of them and saying, "Fuck him off. He's a fucking knob. Look at his tash. What the fuck are you doing?" But, they didn't, unfortunately for many people. And he had a partner in crime, a guy called Paul Mosley, who was also down with the dogging. And bit of it, he looks a fucking hard case, actually. It looks like he can do a few rounds, does Paul Mosley, and he's in there with them and involved in all their doings, which I'm going to describe to you now, because his second wife, the one who wasn't really his wife, she leaves and takes the 5 kids with her. I don't know why, don't know how. Everybody was glad about it. Everybody who cared about her, fucking nice one. So he now, he's pissed off because that's his council house up in smoke. Because the whole reason he's going to get this in his mind, this big council house, is that he's got so many kids. So she takes them kids away. No, he's only got 6 kids. Man, you're dropping right down the list now, mate. So he's not happy with that. So he starts telling the police that she's making death threats against him because she's moved out. Or she's threatening to kill me. So they have a court date to sort all this out. The night before the court date, his house goes up in flames, right? And the emergency services get a phone call, and it's him, and it's his wife, Mairead, and they're saying the house is on fire. The house is on fire. Fucking hell, we can't get out. At one point, they're saying, which is important. Fucking, you know, it's going up. Send everybody. We need the police. We need the fire service. We need ambulance. And so, the couple of the neighbours start coming out, and there's a couple of lads who lived on the street, tough looking lads as well, brothers, and they ran straight across the road, and then, you know, the house is going up, and they find Phil, he's not called Phil, Mick, Philpott is called. They find Mick and Mairead there, and they say, where are the kids? They're in the house. How many? Well, who's in there? All of them. The 6 remaining kids are all in the house, and the house is on fire. It's going up. So the oldest one of these brothers, if you ever see this, I'm really sorry I can't remember your names. I think you're heroes. I really do. I'm sorry that you suffer from memories of this. They climbed up on a caravan, these lads, and they're trying to get in, and the flames are engulfing the house now. And this guy is trying to get these kids out. There are 6 kids trapped in this fire in the house. And the neighbour is trying to get these kids out, and the flames are licking his face back. He's choking on the black smoke. He literally can't physically get in, and he's a big tough lad, and he can't get in to save these kids. And they all get burnt. And the younger brother, who wasn't trying to get in, he was there. He's a hero as well, but he kind of clocked some of this. This behaviour didn't look right. They didn't seem to. It weren't the parents who were on top of the caravan. It weren't the parents who were trying to get in the house. It was the neighbours. And something about the dynamic didn't work. And at one point, they managed to get the oldest one out. Maybe he was more able to get out. I don't know, but he was in the right state outside the house, and the neighbours are trying to bring him back, trying to give him mouth to mouth and all that. But the parents aren't. And so this is a horrible situation, yeah. The 5 kids are dead. The 5 youngest of the 6 are dead. And the oldest one's in a terrible state. And so they go to the hospital. They're in the hospital. And this Mick, got his name right, Mick Philpott, he's grabbing the nurse's asses. And he's trying to get a copper in a fucking headlock. He's laughing and joking. He's starting a food fight. And people are looking at this and going, what? And the wife, this Mairead, the mother of all these kids, is behaving not like that, but not in the right way at all. And, people are thinking, this is fucking wrong. This is not right. This is not fucking right. And this is serious. We're talking about 5 dead kids and 1 on, in intensive care on life support. And then a few days go by and the oldest one dies as well. And some money's given to them, to the parents, to Mick and Mairead by the Asian community, big up, and by the Gypsy community, big up. They went round to their house, where they were staying, I don't know, and gave them money. Right? So they're going round then, bragging to everybody, Mick and Mairead, bragging about how much money they've got. They go into a pub, and they've got a karaoke night, and somebody gets up and starts singing Suspicious Minds. A young guy gets up, starts singing Suspicious Minds. And one of the Irish relatives of Mairead, which is an Irish name, like that to the kid, to the young guy, can't sing Suspicious Minds. Which tells you a lot, tells me a lot. I think it's obvious, isn't it, why he didn't want that. And he's going, we're caught in a trap. which obviously for the kids, it's horrible, isn't it? So he turns to Mick, to say it's all right. He doesn't know. I'll get him off the stage. Mick's not there. He's run past him. He's jumped up on the stage. He's got the microphone and started singing it. We're caught in a trap. We can't get out. What? Them words would not be able to leave your mouth. They should not be able to leave your mouth. What is wrong with this? And, we can't go on together with suspicious minds. Really? And when he finished, this Irish fella, he says to him, you're going to have to leave. People are not happy with what you've just done. You get the fuck out. And they did. They left. A couple of days later, press conference. These are the grieving parents. Table, police, journalists, components of a press conference. And the performance that we're treated to is horrendous. It's fucking awful. He's not crying. There are no tears coming down. He thinks it's some kind of fucking Academy Award. He's thanking everybody. He thanks the police. He thanks the fire service. He thanks the ambulance people, the fucking doctors and nurses, neighbours, the local community. According to you, mate, somebody poured petrol through your letterbox and set your house on fire and killed 6 of your children. Do you want to mention that? He didn't mention the kids. He didn't mention the fact that somebody had burnt his house down and murdered his kids. You murder my kids. Yeah? You'll find out how small this fucking planet can be. Yes? I am not going to forget to mention that when I'm talking to the press and the public and the fucking police about it. Didn't even mention it. And so everyone's thinking, there's something wrong here. And they start recording them, tapping the phones, tapping every room wherever they go. Transpires. They did it. If that wasn't obvious already. For whatever convoluted reasons, attack the ex-wife, get the other kids back, get a bigger house, whatever the fuck was going on. Paul Mosley, Mick Philpott, Mairead Philpott, hatched the scheme to burn the house down. And so they did. And they doused the hallway in petrol. And the banister had been, lacquered with bolt fucking varnish. And then they set fire to it. And it went up. And they burnt the house down. And they killed their own children. They burnt 6 kids to death inside the house. Now, I've heard people say, they didn't mean to do it. They didn't mean to do that. Get the kids out of the fucking house. Don't do it. Number 1, don't fucking do it. Number 2, if you're going to burn your house down, you get yourself out, don't you? You make sure you can get out, right? So you don't murder yourself. You don't kill yourself, right? But you don't tell the kids you're going to do it. And then you set fire to your own house and you burn it down. You put everyone in danger and you kill your own kids. And then you give bullshit fucking press conferences where you're pretending to cry and you're giving acceptance speeches, thanking everybody and all that. So they get charged with 6 counts of murder. He goes down. He won't get out. He won't get out. Mick Philpott better fucking not get out. And the other 2, I think got 17 years. 6 kids died. That's not even 3 years per kid. Again, we'll see these terrible sentences. So yeah, that's a horrendous miscarriage of justice. So he killed, Mick Philpott primarily killed 6 of his own kids. So, on a chirpy little recap, we've got Eric and Lyle who shotgun blasted their own parents to death for money. We've got John List who executed his entire family because he couldn't be fucking bothered to admit that he was a liar. We've got Susan Smith who met a man with some money and decided to push her kids into a river alive and watch them drown to death through the window. We've got Edmund Kemper, who fucking murdered his own grandparents for no particular reason that I can see, then decided to become a serial killer and do horrendous things to young girls, killing 6 of them, and then, at the end, brutally murder his mother and her best friend. And then we've got Mick Philpott, who certainly killed 6 of his own kids for whatever fucked up benefits he thought he was going to get from that. So that's the power hour. That's murdering the family. What I'll leave you with is that this is extremely rare. It's way beyond rare. Even the craziest bastards that the king has met in his time would never hurt their own kids. They'd never hurt their own mother. They'd never hurt their own family. So you're probably safe. Just saying, some of these crazy fuckers do exist. Power to the people. Power to you. Power to me. Boom.